For us was surprising. He came down, he took a racket, he's playing to her, he gives some tips to Alex.
The last time I was here, which was 2 years ago, it's nice to see the welcome that I've had. There's a huge Filipino community here, so I'm so excited. Look behind you, there's a lot of people.
Imagine you are 20 years old. You have flown across continents, crossed time zones, dragged your racket bag through airports and bus terminals, and you have ended up on a clay court inside the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, working. Through your serve under the afternoon sun, you are focused. You are sweating. You are doing what players at your level do, which is grind through the repetition quietly, without ceremony, without anyone watching. And then something happens that nobody planned and nobody announced. A man walks down to your court. He is not a coach you hired. He is not a consultant who got a phone call. He just came down. He watched for a moment and then he started talking, started pointing, started correcting the exact mechanics of your serve, the one thing you have been trying to rebuild from scratch. And that man was Rafael Nadal. Not a motivational poster of Rafael Nadal, not a YouTube compilation of Rafael Nadal. The actual human being, 14 Grand Slam titles, 10 Italian Open championships, the most complete clay court player the sport has ever produced, standing on the same red dirt as a 20-year-old Filipina, who a year ago lost a first-round match in Rome without winning a single set. That moment is not fiction. That is what happened to Alex, roughly 3 weeks before she boarded her flight to the Eternal City for the 2026 Italian Open. And if you want to understand why this particular tournament feels different from every other tournament she has walked into this season, that moment is exactly where the story starts. Because Alex is not arriving in Rome as a survivor. She is arriving as someone who has spent 12 months methodically dismantling every excuse she ever had for why clay was not her surface. And what she has rebuilt in place of those excuses is something that should genuinely make the rest of the draw uncomfortable. Let me walk you through it properly, because this story has layers, and the layers matter. A year ago, May 7th, 2025, Alex walked onto the clay at the Foro Italico. For the first time as a professional player, the opponent was Marta Kostyuk, and the scoreline when it was over was 6-1, 6-1. 96 minutes. One game won. The kind of result that gets screenshotted and attached to every conversation about whether a player belongs on a particular surface. And Kostyuk did not just win that match. She physically exposed something, which was that Alex at that stage could not slide on clay. She could not construct a long rally from the baseline the way clay demands. She could hit, she could compete, she could fight, but the specific technical vocabulary that clay court tennis requires was missing from her game, and Kostyuk spoke that vocabulary fluently and punished every gap. Now fast forward to March of this year. Alex has a career high ranking of 29 in the world. She is no longer a wildcard story. She is a seeded player, a top 30 player, the first Filipina in the history of professional tennis to get that high. She is coming off a Miami semifinal run that felt like a statement, a proper, genuine statement, not a fluke. And the world of tennis is starting to pay attention to her in a different way. Then the clay season starts and the slide begins. Stuttgart, first round, Leylah Fernandez, 1-6, 4-6. Madrid, second round, Elina Mertens, 2-6, 1-6. And the ranking, which had climbed to 29, started drifting back, settling. Today, around 41, a drop driven almost entirely by the expiration of the Miami points she earned last year. So on paper, if you glance at the numbers without reading the context, you see a player struggling on clay, losing matches by fairly wide margins, sliding down the rankings heading into one of the biggest clay events outside of Roland Garros. But here is what the numbers do not tell you, and this is the part that I think is genuinely important. The reason Alex's ranking is dropping is not because she is losing matches she should be winning. It is because she earned an enormous number of points in Miami last year and those points have now expired. That is how the WTA ranking system works. You earn points, you defend them a year later, and if you do not match the result, you lose the points. It is brutal and it is mathematical, and it has nothing to do with form. And here is the number that changes the entire conversation when you look at Rome specifically. she has 10 ranking points to defend in Rome this week. 10. Which means that every single match she wins inside the Foro Italico starting May 5th is pure ranking gain. There is no ceiling to remove. There is no anchor pulling her down. She walks in with almost nothing to lose and everything to build, and that is a psychological and mathematical position that very few players get to occupy at a premier level event. Now, let me tell you about the coaching situation, because this is where the story gets genuinely remarkable. For the 2026 clay swing, Alex and her team made a decision. They went back to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, and this time they arranged for her to work directly with Tony Nadal. Not as a fan visiting the facility, not as a casual observer, as a serious technical collaboration with the man who coached Rafael Nadal from the beginning of his career to 14 Grand Slam titles, including every single one of Rafa's 10 Italian Open championships. Read that again slowly. The architect of the most dominant clay court run in the history of professional tennis is now the clay specialist on Alex's coaching team. Tony Nadal has spent decades studying what it takes to win on red clay at the highest level. He has watched more clay court tennis than almost any human being alive. He understands the geometry of the surface, the physical requirements, the mental adjustments, the way points need to be constructed differently from hard court or grass. And he has brought all of that knowledge to bear on a 20-year-old player who is essentially learning the surface from scratch. And then on top of that, on top of Tony, on top of the structured coaching sessions, Rafa himself came down to the court. Her primary coach, Joan Bosch, the man who has been with Alex since her junior years, described it in an interview with Tennis Up to Date, and I want you to really picture what he is describing. He said Rafa came down to the court without anyone asking and gave them some advice on the serve. He helped. He even hit with Alex afterward. Bosch described the environment at the academy as being like NASA. NASA. That is the word he chose. Not a good training facility, not a professional setup. NASA, the place where the most technically demanding and consequential work in human history gets done. That is the environment in which Alex has been preparing for these next 5 weeks of clay court tennis. And if you think that does not matter, if you think elite coaching at that level does not translate to measurable improvement on the court, then you have not been watching professional tennis very carefully. And Alex herself has spoken about it in a way that is worth paying attention to. At the Laureus World Sports Awards in Madrid, which we will get to in a moment, she said that clay is more gritty, more physical than other surfaces, and that anything she can take from Rafa, she will take with pride. There is a quiet confidence in that sentence that I think gets overlooked. She is not saying she hopes clay will click for her eventually. She is not hedging. She is publicly declaring that she is in the process of taking something from the greatest clay court player who ever lived and installing it into her own game. That is a different posture entirely from the player who walked onto this same court a year ago and got dismantled in an hour and a half. Now, let us talk about Madrid, because something happened in Madrid that had nothing to do with tennis and everything to do with what Alex represents beyond the sport itself. On April 20th, while the rest of the tour was either resting or warming up for the clay events, Alex walked the red carpet at the Laureus World Sports Awards. And she did not wear a designer gown from a European fashion house. She wore a custom Filipiniana, the traditional formal dress of the Philippines, made from pina fabric, which is woven from pineapple fiber and is one of the most revered textiles in Filipino culture. Her uncle Rhett designed the gown, and it was shipped from Manila to Madrid in a matter of days specifically for this moment. Alex said before the event that she had always dreamed of wearing a Filipiniana on a major red carpet. She described it as her dream, the kind of dream that sits with you quietly for years until the moment finally arrives and you get to step into it. The WTA posted a photo of her arrival, and it drew nearly 78,000 likes and close to 900 comments. People from the Philippines, from the Filipino diaspora scattered across dozens of countries, from communities in California and Dubai and London and Singapore, all responding to the same image with the same feeling, which is that this young woman is doing something that goes beyond winning tennis matches. She is carrying a culture onto a stage that has historically not made much room for it. Career is not hype, it is real, and it is being recognized at the highest level of global sport. Manny Pacquiao, arguably the most famous Filipino athlete in history, said it publicly on ABS-CBN and in Tagalog so there would be no confusion about who he was talking to. He said he is so proud of her because she is Filipino, and he wants many more like her. When Manny Pacquiao is watching your tennis matches and calling you an inspiration for the country, you are no longer just a tennis player. You are something else. And all of that is walking through the gates of the Foro Italico this week, with 10 ranking points to defend and 3 players in the draw who have beaten her either this season or last year. Kostyuk is there, Fernandez is there, Mertens is there. The same judges who handed her losses are back in the building, and that is the test that this version of Alex, the NASA version, the Tony Nadal version, the Rafa on the court version, has to pass to make the story complete. Joan Bosch, who again is not a hype man and has no reason to exaggerate, was direct in his technical assessment after Madrid. He said clay was where Alex was more raw, where she had the most to improve. And then he said something specific. He said, now she is moving much better. She is sliding, which is not easy when it does not come naturally. That sentence is the most important technical statement that has been made about her clay game in the last 12 months. The inability to slide, the exact thing Kostyuk exposed in Rome a year ago, is the thing Bosch is now telling the world has been addressed. Not fixed perfectly, not transformed overnight, but addressed, worked on, rebuilt from the foundation, up under the guidance of the most accomplished clay coaching team she has ever had access to. And the timing of Rome within the broader schedule matters too. After Rome, Roland Garros opens on May 24th. And at the French Open, Alex once again has only 10 ranking points to defend. So across the next 5 weeks, 20 total points are sitting on her ledger from last year, and the entire structure of the draw ahead of her represents an open road for ranking gain. A run to the 3rd round in Rome is a net positive. A quarterfinal pushes her back toward her career high, a semifinal or better, and the conversation about the top 25, about top 20, about automatic Grand Slam seeding starts becoming very concrete very quickly. It is worth noting what she did in the week before Rome as well, because the decision she made says something about where her head is at. She was scheduled to play the WTA 125 event in Catalonia, a warm-up tournament that would have given her additional court time and the potential for more ranking points. She withdrew. She chose rest, recovery, and preparation for the main stage instead. She did not retreat to the smaller event for safety. She aimed directly at the bigger one and got herself ready. Greg Rusedski, the former world number 4 who has been one of her most consistent public supporters, acknowledged after the Madrid loss that the scorelines have been a problem. He was honest about it, and after that match, Alex posted on Instagram a short message, grateful for Madrid, coming back stronger. No drama, no explanation, just a clean close and a forward look. And then she made the Catalonia decision and pointed everything toward Rome. So, let us put the full picture together, because when you see all of it at once, the narrative is not complicated. A 20-year-old Filipina player who has the lightest points defense of her entire season this week, who has been training at an academy that her own coach describes as NASA, who has been working daily with Tony Nadal, the man who built the most dominant clay court career in tennis history, who received direct technical input on her serve from Rafael Nadal himself, who walked the most prestigious sporting red carpet in the world in a Filipiniana gown and stopped the room, who has a city full of ghosts to settle with, 3 specific opponents who have taken matches from her, and exactly the kind of mathematical position where every win is pure, uncut progress. None of this means Rome is going to be easy. Clay has refused to hand Alex anything so far this season, and the draw is loaded with players who know exactly how to hurt her. But the difference between the player who walked onto this clay a year ago and the player arriving now is not just confidence or narrative. It is technical. It is structural. It is the work that happens at 5 in the morning before anyone is watching, in the slides across the baseline, in the 1,000 serves hit, with the family of the King of Clay standing next to you, telling you what to fix. Rome 2026 is not Alex hoping things go better than last time. Rome 2026 is Alex arriving with a plan, a team, a rebuilt technique, and a nation behind her that stretches from Quezon City to Daly City to Dubai, all of them watching every single point. The question now is simple. Does she make it past the second round? And if the draw gives her Kostyuk or Fernandez or Mertens, does she settle the score? Drop your answer in the comments, be honest about it, and if you have been following her since before Miami, since before the number 29, since before Larios, you already know what this moment means. Roland Garros is right behind Rome. Wimbledon is right behind Roland Garros. Subscribe and stay with it. The best part of this story is still being written.